The silent cry. Dr. Elena Vasquez pressed her palm against the cool metal wall of Harmony Point's observation deck, watching the stars wheel slowly past the massive research station. 3 years she had been out here in the depths of space. 3 years since Earth had approved the ambitious project to build a joint research facility with 5 different alien species. The cylindrical station rotated gently, creating artificial gravity while its occupants worked together on projects that would have been impossible alone. The station hummed with quiet activity. In the botanical labs, humans worked alongside the plant-like verdani to develop crops that could grow in any soil. The aquatic reef swimmers shared their knowledge of underwater cities with human engineers. The insectoid hive builders taught lessons about efficiency and teamwork. But it was the luminar that fascinated Elena most. The crystalline beings were unlike anything humanity had ever encountered. Their bodies were made of living crystal that could change color and opacity at will. They communicated through harmonic frequencies that made their crystal forms sing like wind chimes. When they were happy, they glowed with warm golden light. When they were sad, they turned deep blue and seemed to absorb light around them. Elena walked through the station's central corridor, nodding to the various beings she passed. Commander Marcus Chen, the station's security chief, gave her a tired wave from the security office. The former Earth Defense Force officer had adapted well to life among aliens, though he still kept his military bearing and watchful eyes. She found Kethera in Laboratory 7, as usual. The Luminar researcher stood nearly 7 feet tall, her crystalline body currently a soft purple color that indicated deep concentration. Geometric patterns of light flowed beneath her translucent skin as she worked at a harmonic analysis station, studying the migration patterns of space-borne crystal formations. "Good morning, Kethera," Elena said, using the simple harmonic greeting she had learned. The luminar turned, her body shifting to a warmer orange hue that showed pleasure at seeing her human colleague. When she spoke, her voice was like a crystal bell mixed with flowing water. "Good morning, Dr. Elena. I have been studying the deep space crystal formations again." Elena had been working with Kethera for 2 years, but she still marveled at how different their species were. Humans saw the universe in terms of chemistry and biology. The Luminars saw it as a vast symphony of harmonic frequencies, where every planet, star, and asteroid sang its own unique song. "Finding anything interesting?" Elena asked, settling into the chair beside her friend. Kethera's colors shifted to a darker shade, which Elena had learned indicated concern. "There are strange songs coming from the deep spaces, songs I do not recognize. They are sad songs, frightened songs." Elena frowned. The Luminar could detect harmonic frequencies across incredible distances, picking up signals that human technology couldn't even register. It was one of the reasons they were such valuable research partners. "Can you show me what you mean?" Kethera moved to the station's central console, her crystalline fingers dancing over controls designed specifically for her species. The laboratory filled with a low, haunting sound that made Elena's skin prickle. It was beautiful but deeply sorrowful, like a lullaby sung by someone who was crying. "This signal comes from the direction of the Luminar home systems," Kethera said, her body now glowing a worried blue. "But it is not in any frequency pattern my people use for long-distance communication. It is older, deeper, like the songs our ancestors sang before we learned to speak across the void." Elena listened to the haunting melody, her scientific mind racing. "How long have you been receiving this signal?" "Many weeks. It grows stronger, but also more desperate. And there are others like it, from different directions, all from Luminar space." A chill ran down Elena's spine. "Kethera, when was the last time you received normal communications from your homeworld?" The Luminar's crystalline form dimmed noticeably. I have not been asked this question before. I have been so focused on my research. Let me check." She moved to another console, this one designed for interstellar communications. Her colors shifted through several hues as she searched through message archives. Finally, she turned back to Elena, her entire body now a deep, worried blue. The last normal communication from any Luminar world was 47 standard days ago. Elena felt her heart start to race. 47 days was far too long for an advanced civilization to go completely silent. She thought about the haunting songs Kethera had been receiving, the desperate quality in those alien melodies. Kethera, is it possible that these deep songs you're hearing are some kind of distress signal? Something your people might use when normal communications are impossible. The Luminar was quiet for a long moment, her crystalline body cycling through colors Elena had never seen before. Finally, she spoke in a voice that was barely above a whisper. In our oldest histories, there are stories of the deep song. When our ancestors faced extinction, when all hope seemed lost, they would sing the deep song so that other Luminar across the galaxy would know their fate. But it has not been used for thousands of your years. I thought it was only legend. Elena stood up quickly. We need to decode these signals. All of them. If your people are in trouble. Dr. Elena, Kethera interrupted, her voice filled with a sadness that made the crystal walls of the laboratory ring in sympathy. If the deep song is being sung from multiple worlds, it means my people are not just in trouble. It means they are dying. Within hours, Laboratory 7 had been transformed into a crisis center. Elena had called in Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the station's leading expert in alien communication systems. The young engineer worked alongside Kethera to build a specialized receiver that could detect and analyze the faint harmonic signals coming from Luminar space. Commander Chen stood behind them, his military instincts on high alert. How many signals are we talking about? He asked. Yuki looked up from her work, her face pale. At least 12 distinct sources, maybe more. The signals are incredibly faint, which means they're coming from very far away, or the transmitters are very weak. Or the transmitters are dying, Kethera added quietly. Elena watched the data streaming across their monitors. Each signal had its own unique harmonic signature, but they all shared the same desperate, mournful quality. It was like listening to a funeral song being sung by an entire civilization. Commander, we need to contact Earth Defense Force immediately, Elena said. If an entire species is under attack. Chen nodded grimly. Already on it, but it'll take time for any military response to reach Luminar space. We're talking weeks, maybe months. My people will not have months, Kethera said, her crystal body now so dim it was almost transparent. The deep song tells us time is measured in days, perhaps hours. Elena stared at the star charts displayed on the main screen. Luminar space was vast, encompassing dozens of worlds across multiple star systems. If something was systematically attacking every Luminar world, it would have to be incredibly powerful and well organized. Yuki, can you enhance the signals? Try to extract any information about what's happening. The engineer's fingers flew over her controls. I'm boosting the receivers to maximum sensitivity. If there's any additional data in these transmissions. The laboratory filled with sound as the enhanced signals came through the speakers. But now Elena could hear something else beneath the mournful songs. It was faint, but unmistakable once she knew to listen for it. Explosions, the sound of weapons fire. And worst of all, the crystal-clear voices of Luminar in panic and pain. Dear God, Chen whispered. They're under attack right now. Yuki's hands were shaking as she worked to isolate different parts of the signal. I'm getting fragments of what might be tactical information. References to dark ships and crystal breakers. The attackers seem to be called the Drakmori. Elena had heard that name before. The Drakmori were mentioned in several xenological databases as an aggressive military empire from the Outer Rim. They were known for their brutal efficiency and their tendency to strip mine entire worlds for resources. The Drakmori harvest crystal-based life forms, she said, her voice barely steady. They use living crystal in their technology. If they found the Luminar worlds. Kethera's body flashed through a rapid series of colors that Elena recognized as extreme distress. They are not just attacking my people. They are harvesting us, taking our crystal cores to power their machines. The room fell silent except for the continued sound of the deep song echoing from the speakers. Alina looked at her colleagues, all of them grappling with the same horrible realization. An entire civilization was being systematically destroyed, and they were light years away, helpless to stop it. "We have to do something," Alina said finally. "We can't just sit here and listen to them die." Chen shook his head. "Alina, I understand how you feel, but we're a research station. We have minimal defenses and no military ships. Even if we could reach Luminar space, what could we do against an entire military fleet?" "We can tell people what's happening," Yuki said suddenly. "The deep song isn't just being transmitted to us. If we boost the signal and rebroadcast it on human frequencies, every ship, every station, every colony in this sector will hear it." Elena felt a spark of hope. Human space is full of ships, cargo haulers, mining vessels, passenger liners. Most of them carry defensive weapons. "Elena," Chen said carefully, "you're talking about asking civilian ships to fly into a war zone. Most of those captains aren't soldiers." "No," Elena replied, looking at Kethera's dimming form. "But they're human. And humans have a tendency to do impossible things when someone needs help." She moved to the communications console and began setting up a sector-wide broadcast. "Yuki, give me the strongest signal boost we can manage. I want this message to reach every human ship within 50 light years." As the system powered up, Alina thought about what she was about to do. She was a scientist, not a military leader. She had no authority to call for help, no promise of backup or support. All she had was the desperate song of a dying species and the hope that humanity would choose to answer. The broadcast system came online with a soft chime. Elena took a deep breath and began to speak. "This is Dr. Elena Vasquez aboard Research Station Harmony Point, broadcasting on all human frequencies. We have discovered that the Luminar species is under systematic attack by the Drakmori Empire. Entire worlds are being destroyed, and an ancient and peaceful civilization faces extinction within days." She paused, listening to the deep song still echoing through the laboratory. "I know this message will reach cargo captains, miners, colonists, and civilians who never signed up to be heroes. I know what I'm asking is dangerous. But somewhere out there, people are dying, and their last song is one of desperation and hope that someone, anyone, will hear them and care enough to help." Elena looked at Kethara, whose crystalline body had brightened slightly, as if her friend's courage was giving her strength. "If you're listening to this, if you have a ship and the will to use it, the Luminar need us now. Not tomorrow, not next week, but now. I'm transmitting all tactical data we have about the Drakmori fleet and the location of the attacks. Harmony Point will serve as a coordination center for anyone willing to answer this call." She ended the transmission and sank back into her chair, suddenly exhausted. Around her, the deep song continued its mournful melody, carrying the pain of an entire species across the vast emptiness of space. "Now what?" Chen asked quietly. Elena looked at the star charts, at the vast distances between them, and the dying Luminar worlds. "Now we wait and see if humanity is as crazy as I think we are." The Giant's Wake. Captain Sarah Rodriguez was 3 days into a routine cargo run when the transmission reached her ship. The veteran captain had been hauling freight across human space for 20 years, long enough to recognize the sound of genuine desperation when she heard it. She sat in the pilot's chair of her aging cargo hauler Freedom's Call, listening to Dr. Vasquez's message for the 3rd time. The ship's communication system crackled with the alien song that accompanied the human broadcast. Sarah had never heard anything like it, but she didn't need to understand the words to recognize a death cry when she heard one. Her first officer, Tommy Liu, floated in the microgravity beside her workstation. "Captain, I've run the numbers. If we divert now, we can reach the coordinates in 46 hours. But our cargo run to New Singapore. We'll have to wait." Sarah finished. She was already plotting a new course on her navigation computer. "Tommy, send a message to New Singapore Port Authority. Tell them we're delayed due to emergency rescue operations." Tommy activated the ship's communication array. "Captain, you know we're not equipped for combat. We got basic defensive shields and a mining laser that barely works." Sarah smiled grimly. "Sometimes it's not about the size of your gun, Tommy. Sometimes it's about being the only one willing to pull the trigger." As Freedom's call changed course toward the Luminar systems, Sarah opened a channel to broadcast her response. "Dr. Vasquez, this is Captain Rodriguez aboard the cargo hauler Freedom's call. We're en route to your coordinates and should arrive in approximately 46 hours. Transmitting our ship specifications and available resources now." She paused, then added, "Tell the Luminar they're not alone anymore." Across human space, the pattern repeated itself. Ship after ship received the broadcast, and captains made the same impossible decision to abandon their routes and fly toward danger. The response was immediate. Across a dozen star systems, ships that officially didn't exist began changing course. These were the vessels that appeared when colonies were in trouble, when distress calls went unanswered by official authorities, when people needed help and no one else was coming. They called themselves the Ghost Fleet, and for years they had been dismissed as spacer legends and tall tales told in port bars. Now the legends were real, and they were coming. On Terra Prime, Admiral James Mitchell stood in the Earth Defense Force Command Center, watching displays that showed ship movements across human space. What he was seeing should have been impossible. "Sir," reported Lieutenant Commander Angela Foster, "we have confirmation of over 800 civilian vessels diverting to the Luminar systems. Cargo haulers, mining ships, passenger liners, even some luxury yachts. The response is unprecedented." Mitchell studied the tactical display. Each point of light represented a human ship racing toward what would certainly be a battle against overwhelming odds. Most of these vessels had never seen combat. Their crews were merchants, miners, farmers, and families, not soldiers. "What's our official response time for getting a battle group to Luminar space?" he asked. "Minimum 12 days, sir, if we strip ships from the Mars defense perimeter and the Centauri patrol routes." Mitchell was quiet for a moment, then made a decision that would probably end his career. "Stand down the battle group order. Instead, I want every available ship loaded with medical supplies, repair equipment, and emergency provisions. We're not going to Luminar space to fight. We're going to support the people who are already fighting." Foster looked surprised. "Sir, regulations clearly state that civilian vessels cannot be supported in unauthorized military operations." "Lieutenant Commander," Mitchell said with a slight smile, "I don't see any unauthorized military operations. I see humanitarian relief efforts. Now get me a direct line to Dr. Vasquez at Harmony Point." Back on the research station, Elena watched in amazement as ship after ship reported in. The laboratory had been converted into a command center, with Yuki coordinating communications while Chen analyzed tactical data. Kethara worked tirelessly to decode more detailed information from the deep song transmissions. "Dr. Vasquez," came Admiral Mitchell's voice over the communication system. "This is Admiral Mitchell of Earth Defense Force. I understand you've started quite a volunteer movement out there." Elena felt a moment of panic. "Admiral, I can explain." "No need for explanations, Doctor. I'm calling to offer official support. We can't send warships, but we can provide intelligence, medical support, and logistics coordination. Consider Earth Defense Force your backup." Elena sank into her chair with relief. "Thank you, Admiral. We're going to need all the help we can get." The first wave of volunteer ships began arriving in Luminar space 36 hours after Elena's initial broadcast. Captain Rodriguez aboard Freedom's call was among the early arrivals, and what she saw made her blood run cold. The Drakmori fleet was exactly as brutal as the intelligence reports had suggested. 12 massive warships, each the size of a space station, orbited the primary Luminar world. Smaller attack craft swarmed around the planet like insects, diving down to strike at the crystal cities below. The planet itself showed the scars of bombardment, with entire continents glowing from the heat of repeated attacks. "My God," Tommy whispered from his station. "How are we supposed to fight that?" Sarah was about to respond when her communication system lit up with incoming transmissions. Ship after ship was arriving at the edge of the system, each one announcing its presence and requesting orders. "Freedom's call. This is Captain Hassan aboard the mining vessel Deep Digger, reporting for duty." "Deep Digger, this is Captain Kim on the passenger liner Star Dancer. We've converted our shuttle bays to medical facilities. All ships, this is Captain Al-Rashid aboard Reclaim. Ghost Fleet is taking tactical coordination. We have a plan." Sarah had heard rumors about the Ghost Fleet, but never believed they were real. Now ghost ships seemed to be everywhere, their crews speaking with the confidence of people who had been preparing for this moment their entire lives. Captain Al-Rashid's voice came through clearly on the tactical frequency. "All vessels, listen carefully. The Drakmori are powerful, but they're not expecting resistance from civilian ships. We're going to use that against them." The plan that emerged was unlike anything in military textbooks. Instead of trying to match the Drakmori in direct combat, the human fleet would use their diversity as a strength. Fast courier ships would create hit-and-run attacks to draw attention. Cargo haulers with reinforced hulls would ram Drakmori fighters. Mining ships would use their industrial lasers to create defensive screens, while passenger liners evacuated Luminar survivors. "Remember," Al-Rashid continued, "we're not trying to destroy their entire fleet. We just need to disrupt their operations long enough for the Luminar to escape and for help to arrive." Sarah felt her heart pounding as she maneuvered Freedom's call into position. Around her, hundreds of human ships prepared for battle, each crew knowing they were probably flying to their deaths, but doing it anyway because someone had asked for help. The battle began at dawn on the Luminar homeworld. The human fleet attacked from multiple directions simultaneously, their random assortment of ships creating chaos in the organized Drakmori formation. Mining lasers and cargo tractor beams became weapons. Passenger ships became rescue vessels. Luxury yachts became fast attack craft. The Drakmori responded with brutal efficiency, but they were confused by the humans' unconventional tactics. Their targeting systems were designed for military engagements, not battles against cargo haulers and tourist ships flying in seemingly random patterns. Captain Rodriguez found herself in the thick of the fighting, using Freedom's Call's cargo bay as a shield for smaller ships, while her mining laser carved through Drakmori fighter craft. Tommy worked frantically at the controls, rerouting power and coordinating with other ships. "Captain," he shouted over the noise of battle, "we're getting reports from the planet's surface. The Luminar cities are starting to sing." Sarah looked at her scanner displays and saw something impossible. The crystal cities on the planet below were beginning to glow with harmonious light, their structures ringing like massive bells. The deep song was changing, becoming something else entirely. Kethera's voice came through the communication system from Harmony Point, her crystalline tones filled with wonder and hope. "The cities sing of gratitude. My people know they are not alone." The deep song becomes the song of unity. As the battle raged around them, more human ships continued to arrive. Each new arrival brought fresh hope and additional firepower. The Drakmori fleet, designed to crush resistance quickly, found itself in a prolonged battle against an enemy that refused to give up. Hours into the engagement, something extraordinary happened. The largest Drakmori warship, apparently the fleet commander, began to withdraw from the planet. One by one, the other warships followed, pulling back from what had become an unexpectedly costly battle against what they had expected to be easy prey. Captain Al-Rashid's voice crackled through the communication system. "All ships, this is Ghost Leader. The Drakmori are withdrawing, but don't let your guard down. They might regroup for another attack." Sarah looked at her tactical displays and realized what had happened. The human fleet hadn't won through superior firepower or tactics. They had won through sheer determination and the willingness to keep fighting even when victory seemed impossible. On the planet below, luminar cities were beginning to repair themselves, their crystal structures growing and healing with remarkable speed. The deep song had become something new, a melody of hope and renewal that carried across space to every ship in the volunteer fleet. Dr. Vasquez's voice came through on the general communication channel. All ships, this is Harmony Point. We're receiving reports that Drakmori forces are withdrawing from all luminar systems. The immediate crisis appears to be over. A cheer went up across the human fleet, but it was tempered by the knowledge of what they had accomplished and what it had cost. Ships had been lost, people had died, and the galaxy would never be quite the same. "This is Admiral Mitchell from Earth Defense Force," came another transmission. "I want every civilian captain to know that your actions today will be remembered for as long as humanity travels the stars. You answered a call for help from people you had never met, in a cause that offered you no reward except the knowledge that you had done what was right." Captain Rodriguez looked around her battered bridge, at Tommy working to repair damaged systems, at the screen showing hundreds of human ships surrounding a rescued alien world. She thought about the choice they had all made, the decision to risk everything for strangers who had sung their desperation into the dark. "Tommy," she said quietly, "set course for New Singapore. Our cargo run can wait a little longer, but those people are expecting their supplies." As the volunteer fleet began to disperse, returning to their interrupted lives and delayed schedules, the luminar world sang a new song. It was a song of gratitude and friendship, of the moment when a species learned they were not alone in the universe. The deep song had become the song of giants, because sometimes the greatest strength comes not from those who are biggest or strongest, but from those who are willing to answer when help is needed most. In the years that followed, the rescue of the luminar would become legendary throughout human space. But those who were there, who heard the deep song turn to the song of unity, knew the real truth. They hadn't just saved an alien species that day. They had discovered what it truly meant to be human.